It skipped the intro on its own. Okay, hi, hello. I thought it was gonna... I thought we were gonna watch the intro. Any non-nutritious bunnies in chat? Listen, I did some farming after stream to get some of my stuff back, most of my stuff back. Hopefully, I can survive better. I also died. You mean you didn't play Overwatch? No, I did not. Surprising, shocking, I know. I got on Overwatch though. I did go on Overwatch just to look at the battle pass and the shop items, and ah my god. Okay, so my OC Macy, she's a cheerleader, and Juno, her mythic, one of the aspects for it, called iridescent, changes her color scheme to have like dark, like whoa dark hair like this, and like bluish eyes, which is what Macy looks like. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally just Macy. And then for the shop bundle for Juno, they gave her a cheerleader emote, and I was like, oh my god, it's literally Macy. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it though, because it's but I'm really happy with the battle pass. I'm definitely getting the battle pass. I don't know if I'm gonna get the ultimate, because the ultimate bundle has Widowmaker and Sigma, and I played neither of those. Why does it say that my bitrate is in the red? Why? What's going on? Why is it always like this? What did I do to deserve this? And then it also says unstable. Is it okay? Like, let me run around in circles. I should probably fight something, because that's when it messes up. Also, I found this cool sword. I was able to... I found it. I killed someone and took it from them. Okay, I did a little bit of exploring. Yes! Okay, new armor too. What happened last time? Last time, I got blown up in the desert, and then it said I was eaten by Shai Hulud, the sandworm, like 8 times in 1 minute or 1 second or something. So I'm pretty sure that's a bug. Some kind of glitch. I messed up the game. Here's our recap. Oh shoot. Hold on. Hold on. I need to start making a checklist, because I keep forgetting to do a lot of this. I almost didn't have chat up. I remembered to put chat up, but I forgot to put myself up. You got munched good, yeah. And then it spat me out, because they were like, you offer no nutritional value to the desert god or whatever. And also, your bike sucks, so take it back. That happened, and then my respawn beacon was at my base, so I was able to go back to my base. And then after stream, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do all the tedious farming off stream and do story missions and stuff on stream. But I think I still need to do a lot of farming, actually. So I went here because this is the nearest, what is it called? Ship thingy? Anyways, I needed these items, the plasteel microfibra, microflora fiber, and mechanical parts to create all the stuff that I lost. But when I went here, to my surprise, it's a PvP area. It was a PvP area and I got scared and I was like, huh? What do you mean it's PvP? But I was like, okay, well, it's also like 11 p.m. Nobody's online right now, right? So I was like, let's just be brave and kill a few enemies. So I went in, right? I killed 2 NPCs and then I heard gunfire and I was like, oh, somebody's here. This is somebody's trying to clear this too. Let me leave. But then I get like body locked, or I don't know what it's called, but it's like a skill or whatever. Okay, a dropship appeared above me. It wasn't there before. I swear it wasn't there before, because I wouldn't have gone if it was there. A dropship appeared above me. Searchlight on me. I couldn't move. My body was like suspended in the air. I was like, oh no, what's happening? I thought I unlocked a cutscene or something. And I was like, ah, damn. But then, no, it was because I was being arrested, I guess. And then a bunch of enemy NPCs started coming down from the ship. And I was like, I gotta go. So I started running. I was like, right here. I started running across the sand. Trying to get away. Somebody's base was right here. I started climbing their base just to escape. It was intense. I didn't know what was happening. I was so scared. But I was like, okay, I can't go here, but I still need these items. So it was really stressful. So I went here to the anvil. Now you know what the searchlight does. I guess that's what it does. Ah, that's insane. I went to the anvil, took a helicopter thingy, ornithopter. I don't remember what they're called. Took it to back here, went here, and looted this place. Is that where I looted? What? No. Went here, looted here, also looted here. But it was scary. I got all the items that I needed to craft my armor, though I didn't craft all of it because I need more iron, which I now have. And what do you mean not matching? What do you mean not matching? Anyways, yeah, so I was able to craft my gun, and then I crafted this gun because I thought it does more damage, but it's a shotgun and I hate shotguns, so I have it for no reason now. I'm gonna put it away. I also have this chest, so if I get eaten, I still have a backup gear. Yeah, see, damage per shot 64.3, right? I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's a shotgun. And then I also filled up my water. Oops, let's deposit all this blood. I don't know what this does. It keeps draining, and I'm wondering if it's because of my iron production. Blighted fog. Whoa, who this? Who you? Hello? Hi, welcome in. I'm Ellie. I'm playing Dune. Okay. What else was I doing? Dreaming of stars. I remember you. Of course I remember you. Wait, but why? What's... Huh? It said blighted fog. First message. Is this two different people or is it one person? I'm confused. Hi, hello. I remember you. Of course I do. What does it say? What? I swear, I'm not crazy. I swear. I will screenshot it and send it to you. Oh, you're not? Okay. What's happening? I thought Twitch was like... We're two different people. Okay. Okay. Hi. Hello, both of you. Because it's like both purple, right? I got so confused. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I grabbed everything I needed from here. I basically went back to the previous map. They're so much easier too, like 1 or 2 shots and they're dead. These people take forever. I sent a message before. I didn't see it. Oh, the first thing I see you sending is it's Emmy. Hey, sorry. Maybe Twitch is eating it. I was just screaming in all caps because, oh, I'm excited to see you too. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Okay. I accidentally did some quests too because they were just really easy. Crossing this is a little stressful considering there's this big circle right in the middle. And I kind of want to move my base over here, but I'm kind of traumatized from moving my bases, so maybe not. Is that Ellie? Hi! It's me! I love you too! I'm happy to see you streaming. Oh, thank you! Are you streaming? I haven't really been looking at Twitch lately. I need water. Let me go lick some flowers to save water. I need steel as well, but I'm not sure where to get it. I feel like it's gonna be in the next area. Streamed a couple of days ago, but not as often as I used to. Oh, what do you do now? I think I'm following some of your friends, and when I see them live, I think of you. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's there. Elementary school. Ooh! That's cool. I love my librarians. I want to be a librarian. But there's no libraries near me. It's like, it feeds my, my dark academia, Delulu brain. It sounds cozy. Do you... Oh my gosh. Do you read... I don't know how to... There's the little codes on the spine thingies. Oh my gosh, English is dying. I'm like, how do they know what it is? I want to learn it. Barcodes. Yeah. I need more iron and I need more that copper. Did I say iron earlier? I meant steel. Steel is probably in the next area. Also, I was over here because I needed something and I passed by a camp, right? And me not having good weapons, I die. I get downed and then there's a person that passes me on a bike and they're like, they stop because they see me downed and then they're like, oh, maybe this person needs help. Oh, you're alive. Maybe this person needs help. So they stop and watch me struggle for a bit before running them over. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, whoever that was. Cataloging books all day. Oh, that's so fun. I want to be a librarian. Yeah, you can just run them over. I didn't know that. Ooh. That, I want to know what that white smoke is. Excuse me. Do you have like a lot of free time? Or do you just catalog all day? That would be like on my list of jobs I would want. My only concern, I guess this is for like college or university librarians, is when like students ask you for like research materials and you have to like know where to look. Here, a scholar. I think, where am I getting this from? I was reading a book. I think it was like Discovery of Witches. And the girl is a... I don't remember anymore. I didn't finish it. I was reading it on the plane to Japan, so it's been a while. I could be so needy and talk about how Please tell me. I need it for research. Do they like teach you, or is there like a YouTube tutorial that I could watch? Surely everything is on the internet, right? Oops. I meant to do all. I'm gonna go around this entire thing grabbing ore because I need to craft... What do I need? I need pants and gloves. And I need... Oh. You have to know it innately. Hush you. Nerdy. Sorry. Not needy. This game looks fun. It is fun. It's just scary. Or I'm a coward. If you have friends, I'm pretty sure it'll be a lot more fun. But all my friends have jobs. Smile. Wish that were me. Anyways. School finished last week, so I'm free. That's right. You have a school schedule. So when the students are out for like summer break, you're out too. List of library codes we learn. Search up books in the system. I wanna learn. It sounds so cool. Like, whenever I think I know how it works, and then I need to look something up, it's not how it works. So this is the gun I have now. And the gun that it upgrades to is like... it needs steel. Okay, this looks like a shotgun. Why didn't I put 2 and 2 together? Doesn't it look like a shotgun? This. And I was like, oh, it's just this rifle, but it does more damage. Just smile. So I need... what do I need? This one. But I need steel. And steel is likely on this side. The Western. I went to school for library sciences. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought they just teach you when they hire you. Technically only a library technician, because to become a librarian you need to go to uni. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit behind. No, I'm behind. I don't know, they all have weird shapes, but like it kind of makes sense if you like squint a little. You squint a little and look at it with one eye closed. Like, this is clearly a sniper, right? It has a scope and a long barrel. That's what snipers look like. and then this says pistol. So it's the small thing that fits in your hand. And then this, I don't know what that, it looks like a bigger pistol, which is probably oh boy. This is like me when I play Apex and like all the guns look the same, but they do different things. So this is a sword, which is bigger than a dagger. All I know is that this sword, when I'm fighting, I lose stamina. I lose a lot. And I don't really like it. It's cool, but I don't like it. So we're gonna swap it out. I'll just use a dagger. It's fine. But let's see. 9.9, 7.2. That's... I'm sure there's library programs you can take where you are if you're available. My college course was 3 years. Dang. I suppose if I'm comparing it to the other thing I wanted to be was a pharmacy from pharmacist. I almost said pharmacian. This is how you know I'm not here. I just woke up. So pharmacy tech was 2 years, and then to be a pharmacist was, I don't remember, longer. So I'm assuming it would be around the same. But 3 years? There's so much that actually goes into it. I bet. It sounds like it could be a cool term. It's cool if you don't know that it's not actually a real word. I need more water. I need to just drink. Okay. So I also died yesterday twice, I think. Yeah, I died twice because I went over here and then all of the enemies. So there's usually like one or two that's like roaming around here. But then all of the enemies here were outside for some reason. So they all ganged up on me and I died. And then when I ran back, there was a storm. So then I was like struggling in the sandstorm, but they were all, wait, I need to put this away. But they were all shooting me just fine. So pretty sure that's another bug. It's not my fault. I swear. Oops. I'm better than this, I swear. Can I not put this in? Okay. I think... Whoa. So I needed gloves and shoes. And I can't because I need this. So I'm gonna go back across the desert to farm that place again because I am not going to that PvP area even though it's closer to me. I need to make more of that too. Oh, I also got the recipe for that dagger that I was using. The one that let me siphon blood. From my enemies as I stab them. Enter. I think today I will try to go to that white fog thing and see what that's about. Stopping. Pausing. Oh boy. I feel like it's playing a lot better now that I've moved some of my settings to medium. And it still looks the same. Does it look worse though for you guys? Can't tell the difference. Honestly, same. Cause when I okay, so for graphics, I was looking at like this, right? Shadows. I couldn't tell the difference between high and medium. Like personally I prefer low too. So, and then this, like I couldn't tell like what's the difference. Huh? Like this is lighter, but there's no difference really. CLSS quality. What's that? Where's that? This just says quality. Turn the upscaling off. What's that? Huh? This? This? Upscaling method. To What? Turn it. There's no off. I need to sneeze. How about this? Oh my goodness. That down too. Okay, let's see. It looks the same. It looks the same. Maybe I should restart? It should look better. Maybe it feels better. Let's see. If I'm running around. It kind of feels the same. Oh shoot, did I bring money? I did not. So I have to go back. I have to go back. Because I don't have any money. It looks the same, doesn't it? I have that one song in my head now. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Ooh. That is not the right way. That's not the way we want to go. That is definitely not the way we want to go. I really should move my base here because why would I want to be over there? Not sure if TA here means no upscaling though. I have no idea what it means at all. I think, oh gosh. I think Ven told me that I'm so scared. Why is the scary music already happening? Dun 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 dun. And I have to cross this twice? I hate it. I hate it. I can feel it.
Sector weather alert.
Oh.
A large sandstorm is approaching.
Sandstorm coming, worms coming. Oh, I see it. Also, these guys can go into my base. I didn't know that. I think I should move my base. It's only up to here, you know? It's not like the same as this. Where was I? I was here. And then crossed here. And then yeah. I should have crossed from here. Like I did before. No, I was here. I'm like using my fingers to point at my my monitor to see the distance, like a ruler.
Weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Hi, Seraph. Hello. Nothing can go wrong. Famous last words. Okay, waiting for the storm to pass. How are things? Things are good. I forgot my money, so I had to run all the way back. Look, I have money again. I only need this much. Where'd it go? Yeah, I was struggling trying to kill like 2 NPCs because for some reason they were shooting me, but they also had shields. So I had to get up close and shank them. But then when I got close to one, he pulled out a knife and the other one kept shooting me. And I had little baby armor. So so I couldn't even fight back.
Reveal yourself.
You don't see me. I'm not here. Part of me is like, am I really supposed to be here if I... There's a worm there. I know you're there. I should put a check mark where that that person's base is. So this distance is the same as this distance, right? I should make a base right here. Thank you for the like, Blah. Okay. Okay. Did you guys ever play this? I swear it's fun when you're not scared of everything. I'm pretty sure I used to walk this too. Didn't I, before I got my bike? Please no worm. Please no worm. Please no worm. So close. I hear you. If I didn't already have so many other games to play, then maybe. It's fun. It's just really taxing on your PC. Like, I need to upgrade soon. Maybe. One day. Soon. Whoa. I did it. It would be unfortunate if I didn't put that money in my inventory. I'm still... Okay, it's there. Whoa. Hi.
Can I fly you somewhere today?
Fly me to
Music to my
Paga
ears.
Basin.
The basin is a pretty
Griffin's
big beer
Reach.
place?
Yeah, 700.
Always warmed up. Let's go.
Stream gets pretty choppy for me in here. It was choppy for me. I'm pretty sure it was me. But we're like transitioning from a PvE area to like a hub. So maybe it's just the loading. Expedition 33 does that to my PC. Oh, I have that game too. And I know for sure that I need to upgrade. Ah! So I should probably wait to play it. But I have it. Here it is. Oh. This is a person. Where is the emotes? What's emotes again? Maybe this isn't a person. Nope, it's an NPC. Whoa! Whoa! Hey, Jaku? Should I... Should I, change my settings back? Cause like... What if they're like, yeah, we offer these lower... Oh, I can't even go here. Oh, that's scary. Wait, this is a bug, isn't it? Did I map break already? I'm scared to die and like lose my items under the map. Thinks you're still inside. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. It just took a while. We're good. We're okay. But if I did die there, I would have lost my items under the map, right? Okay. So maybe we go here first, because I think I still need stuff here. Or we go all the way to the end. Ugh. All the way here first. And then get this on the way back. Because I tried like waiting a little bit to farm it. It wouldn't let me. I don't know how long it takes for the chests to refresh. Though if you googled it for me, I wouldn't mind. Smile. Don't shoot me. I'll Google it. Thank you. I hope this doesn't... Oops. Oops, don't mind me ramming into everything. I saw a bumper sticker that was really funny. It was like, hot girls hit curbs or something. I was like, you know what? Heck yeah. Let me cross this real quick. Scary sounds. Never mind. Turning back. I like how we don't have to sweep and mop the floors. Huh? Ooh, every 40 to 45 minutes? Yeah, so it's not farmable. PvP chests every 20. I don't like that. Usually it takes me out of the realism. You want to mop the floors? What game lets you mop floors? What? Oh, I have to also go into also these resources are like so much more abundant here. Should I get... Oh dang, Ellie has a shooty shoot. I do! I only feel powerful here though, unfortunately. In the other region, I feel really weak. Whoops. I feel like I get bullied in the other region. Don't shooty shoot me. Now why would I do that? Oh, this sun. She just looks so unnaturally pale. Like all the stuff that I have to farm, I won't have space for because I'm... Ignore my poor tracing skills. Oh my god. It still says good efficiency, but if I were in the other map, I'm pretty sure it would have said poor efficiency. Things are definitely easier in this region. No pen stabilizer here. Using up a lot of water really fast. Yoink. Hello? Is that a person? Can't tell. Test. That's a person. That's a... Oh, no, they move. Whoa, hi. Give me this real quick. No, I'm busy. I learned how to parry, by the way. I mean, I knew how, but I forgot. And now I remember. Does it help when I'm panicking? No. But I know now. Interloper. No. This one. Hey. Oh, they shanked me. I'm a parry master now. Maybe when I'm not panicking. Picked up a gun. I swear I picked one up. Oh, it's here. It's the same one that I have. That'll be useful. Wait, what? Did I just loot it twice? Wait, what? I have both guns. I didn't have this earlier, right? Okay. I mean, I'm not complaining. The items have durability? Yes, they do. And you can repair them, but they get this red thing. That red bar right there. Every time you repair it, it goes up until you can't repair it anymore. Which makes sense, right? I was gonna pull the gun and say, parry this. Yep, you can't parry my bullets. Actually, don't quote me on that. I thought they knew I was here. Why are they... Did they forget I was here? I just noticed I haven't broken anything yet. I think every time you die it loses durability. Every time you use it, it loses durability. What do you mean it's only a heal kit? Give me the stuff that I need. What? It's a... What are these chests? You dead? Oh, I forgot to extract blood. Oh. My containers full? Oh. They are. Yay. So I need these things. And then here's that Caliph's drinker. Now we go here. Actually, I need to go into caves. There's a cave here, so we'll go there first. And then these two caves. That cave. I feel so seasoned when I'm here. But then when I go to the next area, I feel like a baby. Baby, scared of everything. Whoa. Where is it? It's nice the difficulty goes up. Not nice for me. I have to suffer. Okay, whoa. Where's the cave? Whoops. Ah! Okay, I didn't parry that time. But it's okay, because you weren't looking, right? In my heart, I parried. Smile. Oh my gosh, Latte is like hanging off the chair next to me. Oh no, she woke up. Okay. Sorry, I was taking my Snapchat for my streaks. I'm back. Now we go here. I remember being so scared of this place. She's gonna fall off the chair. I feel like my game is running better now. Would you say that I could maybe use a model? Actually, my bitrate's still in the red, and Twitch still says it's unstable. Why is that, I wonder? Frames still drop from time to time. I wonder if there's a... It doesn't... I wanted to show like my FPS, my frames. Did you close your browser? No. Nor I used my browser to see chat. Okay. I have 3 browsers, and each browser has at least 5 tabs. So before it was at least 10. So, you know, this is an improvement, I think.
Welcome to Desert Botanical Testing Station number 2. I am the station supervisor, Dr. Rommel Greer. The ultimate
Hello? Where's all the enemies? This is suspicious. Surely you don't have 3 browsers open right now. Where's all the enemies? Someone here recently? This is a good spot for ammo and bandages. It's just spooky is all. Hello? Did the game forget to load in enemies? Watch, they're gonna jump scare me. They're gonna all spawn in one room. Do I have? I'll just put it in there because I'm full. I heard a scream, but I don't see anybody. Huh. Oh. We found one. I don't know what's more unnerving, a lab full of deranged enemies or an empty one when you know there should be enemies. Imagine it was like this the first time around, right? I would have been so happy. I don't need this, but I'll take it. Actually, the first time around, they kept respawning like in between. Okay. Must be really funny, whatever's happening over there. I'll take it as a backup. Okay, there's a person. I didn't parry! Come on, just die. Okay. I don't need that. I'm not sure what this is. Not gonna take it. good place for bandages and ammo, at least. Someone must have just been here. Also, I didn't notice these before, but there's like worms. Those are like mini sandworms. A backup bike? I suppose I could make another bike. Next time.
Welcome to Desert Botanical Testing Station number 2. I am the station supervisor.
Last room. I'm so proud of your looting habits now. Why? Is it because I'm not taking everything? I'm really full. Oh, that's a lot of copper. I'll take everything. You've made a valid point that I might need a backup bike. Anything in here? This all just makes me think of the forest. Those little bunkers. Oh. Your Fallout playthroughs might have involved an awful lot of loot all. Hey! I didn't have a weight limit. Ben was very considerate when he was setting up my mods. Made sure to include the ones that didn't let me be cucumbered. Okay, now we go to the cave. Even though I have a bike now, I still have not forgotten my roots. I want to advance in the story, though, so that we can, get an ornithopter. That way, I can just fly over the desert and not worry about getting eaten by a worm. Though I'm pretty sure you can still get eaten by a worm on an ornithopter because they jump out and, you know, like a shark jump out of the sand. Oh my god, please drive straight. It's corners. Ayy. Cave is here somewhere. Right? Oh. That looks familiar. I'm pretty sure I looted a lot in Baldur's Gate as well. It's just really fun. Because what if you're gonna need that? Actually, So I loot a lot, and then I'm very conservative with my item usage. So like I don't use anything. So then like I end the game with all these items. That's not a person. Where are you? I saw you. There you are. How? They're just like one shot. Need those little things. It says there's 2 caves here, but I've only ever gotten this one. One is Aaron's Refuge, and then the other one is also Aaron's Refuge. Whatever. Time to go. I'm trying to like determine if I like the BGM for this game. You know how there's like some games that you just like, ooh, you want that to be the background music of your life. But whenever I think of this one, all I think of is there's a sandworm about to come eat me. The one that sounds like the Jaws theme song. And I'm trying to like think like, surely there's other songs in this game. But no, they're all suspenseful. I'm only remembering the suspenseful ones. Even this sounds suspenseful. Should I go to this? Nah. Oops. And I guess it doesn't help that I play it with streamer mode, so it kind of like hides the songs.
Can I fly you somewhere today?
Take me.
Music.
Whoa, not Arakeen.
I can get you there, but I want a little extra for the trip. All right, suit yourself. Music to my ears. Where do you want to go? The basin is a pretty big place. I never miss the chance to let Smiley verbally abuse me. Let's move.
Who's Smiley? Let's go see who Smiley is. Everybody hydrate. La. Da, da, da. Hello, who's Smiley?
You again?
Anybody here talk? I can sit. This blue looks so expensive. Maybe here? Thought you would say something. Are you smiley? Are you smiley? There's no smiley here. Are you smiley? Huh. Okay. Where to? Ooh. Okay, no wait. First we go home. I really don't want to cross this. My dispenser belt thingy is broken. Didn't I get another one though? A passive one. I'll use this one. What does this one do? Protects user from taking damage from falling, automatically kicks on at damaging speeds. Oh. That's nice too. Whoops. Aha! I'm gonna pin here. Not that, because it goes away. But I'm gonna do this. So I know where to... Actually, no. Wrong way. This way. Right here. Yep. I know which way to go. See, these people are smart. They built their camps right here, so they don't have to keep crossing this stupid desert. Stop moving. We're not known for our smart decisions, though, are we? Okay, ready? Ready? Don't make that noise. Crossing this is horrible for my anxiety. Holy heck. I think we just need another day where we feed ourselves to the worm again. Multiple times until we know what triggers it. Just like before. I'm full. Or efficiency. Is it because I don't have any space? Max copper. Max iron. Deposit all my blood. Deposit all my water. Deposit, quick deposit everything else. And then I need new gloves and shoes. Yay! And then we have extra. Now Now what? Maybe a new knife? A little bit more damage. 11.4. Why does it say we can craft it now? Let's craft it. Standard is the next one. Please tell me I made the right gloves. I did. Ta-da! Oh, gotta learn these. Yep. Yep. And then we can put these away for next time's use. Did we get 2 pistols? I like when the game bugs. It gives us extra loot. My blood sac needs Dune cop. The Dune cops are coming. No. Which one's broken? Oh, if it's like... Oh, okay. So less... Yeah, see, it went up. I'm gonna recycle. Didn't I just fix this? I'm gonna recycle this broken one. Is it getting things from my chests too? I think it is. Nice. Okay, so now we hit harder and we have a full set of armor. The only thing I want now is the belt tool thingy. Oh. Cycle this. Cycle that. Okay, so for this, to be able to make another sand bike, I'm pretty sure that's a lot of stuff. Need this, which means, oh, I have a lot. We're good. If I ever need a backup bike, I know where to look.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Make 3 of these. I liked this. Ooh. Worm attraction intensity extreme. Went to a bunch of our exhibitions today and it was barely over 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit. Okay. Why is it so cold there? It's hot as heck here. It was like 80 yesterday. Did you see anything cool? Are you allowed to take pictures at art exhibits?
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Cold rain and super windy. Sounds fun. I love when it's cold and windy. I hate when it's hot and humid. Summer is horrible. It just has really good PR. Really good advertising. Everybody loves summer until it's summer. Didn't take any pictures? What were they about? There's gonna be not a convention, but kind of like a fest. Like a tea fest for tea. And I kind of want to go because I love tea. I should just made this. Why didn't I make this? That's a lot of plasteel though. It's fine. I don't need
Sector
plasteel.
weather alert. A large sandstorm.
It does more damage. Where do you get plasteel from? Shoot. There has to be another area that isn't this. Wait, do I need to do another probe here to unlock the rest of this? Are we supposed to be brave? Do we have to be brave? What if I don't want to be brave? Where is the probe tool? There it is. That's a knife. I'm gonna take that upstairs. Why do I have so many of these? I'll recycle this. I thought I... Oh, that's recycle. I want to repair this. Yikes. Its durability is horrendous. Oh, people are talking. Lag spikes. The sky is flickering. The sky is falling. Okay. Oh wait, it's here now. Why couldn't I see it earlier? Huh, okay. So, we're gonna go here, because that's the closest quest area. I no longer need my probe tools. Maybe I should get rid of it. What is it, 6? It's fine. It's not hurting me. I'm gonna complete some quests. And...
Target found. Beneath.
It's just free XP, you know? I cheesed the heck out of this place. when I was last here, I'm pretty sure I should have died. But I didn't. So we're gonna see if I can cheese it again. Oh, they're dying a lot faster at least. Premium cheese. Exactly. Oh. I finished it. Oh. No. I didn't finish it. What? Oh my god, aim. I don't like you. Ah! Stop that, holy heck. What? I hate that guy. Oh no. Oh no, wait. Why are you carrying? Die. See, they're harder. I have to cheese. I want cheesecake. What kind of cheesecake? Have you ever made a cheesecake? I've made two kinds. One was like, I think a New York cheesecake, and then the other one was definitely a lot prettier. There was a time I liked me too! I used to like making the fancy kinds with like the swirls, and then the one that looked like it was from The Sims. My sister-in-law really liked a certain kind of cheesecake, and I made it for her, but then the one that I made for myself was like prettier, so she took that to bring to her party, but it wasn't ready. But the one that I made for her was really good. Ugh. I wish she took the one that I made for her, because she would have gotten the better one. Sims cheesecake. Maybe Sims is not the right term. It's like the one with the strawberries for toppings. Oh, I don't have my knife out. Wait. Oh wait. I don't like that. I cannot fight two people at once. Hold on. Let me heal. Ah!
It'll all be over soon.
Bruh. How many times do I have to heal? I need to get better at fighting multiple people, because that was scary. Did you need to use the force? What sucks is when there's two. Oh my god. Stop doing that. Oh, you messed me up. I'm approaching people with the exsanguination tool thingy. I'm thinking it's a weapon. There's just so many tools that you need to have. Like, oh, I'm full. Get the best loot with Drot. Drot's band always gets the best loot. Everybody knows this. Okay. They have a whole ad. Anybody here? Oh, gosh. Hate this guy. Oh my god, there's multiple of them.
Tossing grenade.
No, don't do that. Wait, okay, one at a time. Come here. Don't. No fires in any holes, please. Whoa. Okay. Y'all are scary. Is that it? Is that all of you? Please, no more. I'm tired. I went the wrong way the other time. Because I went through here first. I don't have a belt, do I? Shoot. I didn't make a belt. I got distracted. Run with... Oh. Okay. Contact issuer. Surely I can do that here. This proves there are several well-known Kirab leaders at Mirzaba, just like I thought. But wait! One of these recruiting ads is from Drot. It was Drot's gang that killed my partners. This feels like the second luckiest day of my life. I want that bastard dead. If you can kill Drot, not only will I have my personal revenge, but his death is sure to cause a power struggle among his gang. With any luck, the infighting and backbiting will spread to other gangs as well. Kirab killing Kirab sounds pretty good to me. Got it. So now I can leave. Surely there's no more enemies, right? In games, when you level up and you get new skills, you're supposed to like change out your loadout, right? And choose the stronger. Whoop. Choose the stronger skill. But I'm still using the very first skill they gave me. I mean, it works. So little hop skip. Little itty bitty hop skip. So much loot. Yes. This water. No. See, this is the way I came in before. Thank you for the like, Miswa. I hope you have a good day at work. Ah! No grenade, no grenade, no grenade, no grenade, no grenade. Ah. Oh, wait, I just got a helmet. Durability sucks though. Watching you makes me want to play. I bet your new computer can handle this better than mine. You should play. Play with me. I'm so scared and alone. Okay, 7. Ellie needs party members. I do. I don't remember how much the base game is. I'm pretty sure it's like 40? Maybe? That's how much games are nowadays, right? Whoa. Imagine trying to stab somebody while they're riding past you at 60 kilometers. Whatever this speed thing is. Okay. We're back. Probably $50. Not in my budget. Oh. I need to save up and upgrade. I think Ven told me yesterday that my GPU or my something is compatible with something. So I don't need a full update. I just need 2 parts. Right? I don't know. Is this? Okay, I had to refresh something. But if you do decide to get it, I'm pretty sure my thing has drops enabled, so at least you'll get loot when you do play. Okay, I have a helmet. Even though the durability is atrocious, it's at least something. Right? And then I can get rid of this hood. Why did that give me back plasteel? Deposit all our blood. Extract our water. Wait. Right, okay. Why is it saying this thing's full? It shouldn't be full. Now this thing's full. Why are you full? Oh. Oh. Fuel cells are so heavy. Guess I could move this. Oh. Move this here. Mechanical parts. I have 2 blood extractors. What do I have? I have an improvised blood extractor. So should I... And then I can recycle these. I don't know what this does. Thanks. Alrighty, what do we need now? Need a belt. But I'm scared of attracting the worm. I could get a shield. Need steel for that and I don't have any. You the best. No, you! What's that? Raging Wolf Helm. Where'd you get that from? It's cool! Hmm. I'm in death still. What? A complex device capable of extracting water from a corpse. Oh. Placed close to a subfief console with a construction tool requires power. Right. What is this? Okay. Very scary stuff. I feel like I'm supposed to be farther than I am. So what have I been doing with my life? There's already like beer and food. Iron. Mouse corpse. Huh. You can kill mice? There's the mice? Didn't I find a mouse? Didn't I find a mouse in like my first playthrough? Not playthrough, my first day? Okay. I have this. What is this? Stop. Would this be better than this? Use the voice to stop your enemy from performing any actions for a brief period. these fancy foods. You ever eaten a mouse before? Okay. Quest time. Kill it. We gotta kill this guy. Anyways, we looking flowers for dinner. Soon. I have water, I swear. We're not poor. Let me check my vehicle real quick. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. It's a good thing we're responsible vehicle owners. Right? Where is the... that and this? It was 6. Repair. Okay. Oh, you can't fully repair anything ever because it starts. Ah. You mean we're becoming worm dinner today? We can! I kind of want to venture out into the sand again and see what that white dust is. Okay. Let's check. We're good. And fuel is not full. What? What happened? Oh, we refueled. Already at maximum. Hello? Maximum? Maybe... Whoops. Okay. Just needed to get on. Whoops, not that. This up because I don't need it. So we can go outside. What's for lunch? It's in rainy. Uh-oh. Ha! Everybody stretch. Stretch and hydrate real quick. What are we doing going here? We're doing quests. Right now, the quest is... second order. Do we not have it? Location unknown. How did we find it last time? Oh, why is this purple? Purple like the quests. We gotta go here, methinks. Then is the V leader. Hello. This way. And then... What if I just run them over, right? I don't see you. Probably should have drank water before I came out. Teehee. It's okay. There's like ways to hydrate everywhere. Whoa, a cave. Where? This way? This is so hard, so much harder to navigate too.
Who goes there?
Me! Oh. Hand to hand. Alright. I'm good at fighting now! Okay, a camp. These guys are easier to fight at least than the ones near my base. Okay, I think it's below. Oh, oh, I don't have a suspender belt thing. I shouldn't be doing this. How did I forget to do this again? Go the safe way around. This is somebody's base. Okay. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not down. Maybe it's up. Not in the butt. I can't help where I stick it. It's just gonna go wherever. Like 9 times out of 10, it goes not in the best place. When has Nelly shot someone in the butt? You know what? Oh, that. Well, you see, they were open. It is very effective. See? They took critical hit damage. Where is this cave? I want to go into the searchlight. That's the thing, though. That's the thing that appeared. I want this. Ooh. Hold on. I have an ad blocker and it sometimes gives me pop-ups. It's really annoying. Guys, I don't think this is where the cave is. Okay, we go home, make a suspender thingy, belt thingy, and then look for this darned cave. Whoa! Can only imagine you have that Skyrim kill cam in every game that zooms in. I'm pretty sure I have a clip of that somewhere. I just don't remember if I shot them there. Rather unfortunate if I did. Should I get a shield? Will it take up a slot? Is it this? It just attracts worms. So I really have to be careful in the desert. Is it this? Ah, here. Okay. Leap, passive, or the wings. This one's the glide. This one is like an extra jump, a jump boost. Is it because it makes that vibration? Yes. The vibration attracts the worms. So all of this will attract a worm. And then if I have a shield, it's also... Maybe that's why it took so long for the worm to get me. When I first started, it was because I didn't have any of these, but now I do. I'm dying. I'm trying to decide. Maybe this one? Should have made it activate at random micro intervals. Maybe it's not reliable enough if that's... Maybe this one. I don't know what this is for. Yeah, let's do that one. Teehee. And then... I don't know if this will take the spot of a shield. But it's... cheap. And if I'm gonna be fighting, I wouldn't mind having both. Aha! I can wear them both at the same time. When a Holtzman shield is equipped, it needs to be manually activated. The shield will deactivate when firing a ranged weapon. After a short time, it will automatically reactivate. It will also reactivate after charging if the shield is broken. Hua! Shield activated! Ooh, I'm also injured. Ooh. Then I can deactivate it. And then I won't attract a worm, right? It only attracts worms if it's active, right? Right. 14, 115. So we would want a bigger power pack. Is there any... Where are power packs even at? Those are heal kits. Is it essentials? Hmm? A still tent. Didn't I do Test of Elk? Oh, the 7th. Wow, that's way later. Where's the power packs? Oh, here. Okay. So the next one Would need steel. Yeah, okay. Means we have to progress to the next area, which means scarier enemies. Let's drink water so we're not licking flowers tonight. Alright guys, we're not four. Look at that. Okay. Take two. This cave has to be here somewhere. Oh gosh. Oh. I know how to drive. Wait, I can do this. Wait. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, yes. Okay, wait. It's that way. Isn't that where I just was, though? Why do you look nervous? Did you not believe? I think it's that. Don't you believe in me? I'm a wonderful driver. I was just here. Hey, it's me again. This poor guy. I'm like level 39. I don't know what the maximum level is, but I feel like I'm not 39. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm only level 2. Level 12 at best. Okay. Is it the Ragnarok online? I want to see a worm eat one of those. Where is this heckin' cave? Oh, there's a breach. Is it above me? But I was just up there, wasn't I? I dropped down here. Because it wasn't up there. Maybe it's down here. Oh, okay. Okay. Ouch. Where? It kind of looks like it's at the top. Shoot. Okay, well, let's just do quest. Maybe I don't like this Emperor one. So I never uninstalled Apex. I saw it yesterday, still there. Oh, nice. Is it updated? It's kind of funny that they have similar themes going on, because I saw, is that somebody's base? I saw that they had school uniform theme cosmetics, and then Overwatch is also having a school. Where the yuck? Where the yuck? I wonder if they got together and were like, alright, this is the theme. Discovered Southview. Got it. I see a head over there. Shoot first, ask questions later. Yoink their blood. Oh, here. This place is where I need to go. Okay. Would anybody like to not shoot me while I shot them? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Oh. I saw a shield pop up. Please die before this guy gets here. Ah! Okay. Was that a grenade? It's not very nice. Where's your head? Found it. Oh, he's dead. It's updated. Nice, nice, nice. When are you available? Oh, pants!
Who's that?
It's Ellie!
Sector weather alert.
Uh-oh.
A large sandstorm is approaching.
Oh. Mind if I bunker in with you? It's kinda scary out there. Interloper. I think it's one person. Does this count as being sheltered? Something that they need to fix in this game is that the enemies don't get stunned or slowed down by the storm, but you do. So if you get caught and there's like bandits, they'll keep shooting you and running at you.
Tossing grenade.
Whoa. Where's the storm? Ah.
Attack.
I'll just wait in this corner then.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Or like at the very edge of it.
They're coming.
We're fine in here, right? Let's look outside.
I've got your back. That.
Thank you for the hydrate. I sip. Big sip. Wah! So yeah, I died fighting them. And then I went back for my stuff. Because you drop everything. But not what you're wearing, I guess. And then they were like still fighting me even though there was a storm. And I couldn't do anything. I couldn't fight back. I was like getting pelted by the storm. And then they were just like throwing grenades and acting like it's nothing. Like, oh, okay. The storm only affects me. Got it. I really want all this. I guess. Enemies only see your red outline, forget everything else. Yeah, and if they're like right there and you're over here, they'll shoot right here. They need better AI for their enemies. More. So many. I think I can recycle them. No, wait. I don't know if I can actually. Got the intel. Contact. Alright. What do you want? You did it. Dropped him like a rabid jackal. With luck, they'll soon be turning on one another. At the very least, the man responsible for the deaths of my friends is dead. And that means I'll rest a little easier. Thanks, friend. You're welcome. Next. That's really far. Monster slaying. Extremely dangerous. We could track this. Whoa. Locate spy's nest. Have to cross the desert. Okay, let's finish this region first before we go anywhere. Level up. Wah. Wah. Nothing else, right? I wanted to go to this cave. And it is like right there next to that little camp. I think we do have to climb to get there. This way. I know where we're going. Do I know where I'm going? This is where all those mansions are, super bases. There's caves here. These bases are tense. Mine's just a little Minecraft hut. I think we have to go up. We for sure have to go up. There's already mansions. Yeah. I think... Well, okay. I'm behind. I'm very behind. Look. Is it this way? No. This person just built into a little cavern. Very safe and secure hideout. But look at this. They even have like a sandworm statue. And then it connects to that. I wonder if it's like multiple people's bases. Is it this? No. I've been here before. How do I get there? Huh? Okay, let's do some climbing. Jaku, if you're available, could you Google if I can do the quest lines for the Atreides and the Harkonnens at the same time, or if I have to choose between them? Because if I have to choose, I'm going with House Atreides. Got it. We're here. And somebody's base is here too. Isn't this cool? Wish I could get a tour or something. And then there's a Minecraft hut. I don't wanna. I'll check. Thank you. I'm out of stamina. Wow, it kind of sounds crazy when you run out of stamina. You just like lose your breath. I bet I can snipe from up here. See, I'm meant to be a sniper. You can switch your faction once by betraying them. So what you're saying is, I should do Harkonnen first, and then betray House Harkonnen and do Atreides. Just so I have all the... Wow, okay. Reveal yourself. What if that's a player, right? Am I just too far? I see blood. There's more. I don't think I can reach them from here. Try out the shield yet? No. I forgot how to do it. Those guys look like they have really heavy guns. I think it was H to do the shield. Whoa, buddy. That counted, right? He used my shield.
Kill them all.
I have to deactivate my shield to use my gun.
Die, die, die!
Hey, buddy. Did that count? Did that count? It's definitely a lot easier, right? Atreides double agent roleplay. I could be the spy. They won't know what hit them. I have too many vehicle fuel things. Little hot. Oh! Don't look. Clap. Oh, that was your clone? What clone? What do you mean? Ooh, fresh water. Thanks. How thoughtful of them. Free intel. Usually they have really cool blueprints. Someone with the same cloak. Oh, I'm wearing their cloak. There's also like steel. The next upgrade is steel, and it's called the Slaver's armor. So my next enemies are the Slavers. I also thought it was a clone. I'm the clone. Where's the big chest? Did I already get the big chest? It didn't give me any cool... Whoa, that's cool. That's cool. That's the next area. I didn't get any blueprints. Oh! Ooh! I got a unique sidearm. Huh. Modified spring mechanism automatically reloads. Ooh. Let's try it. My blood extractor is going to 6, and 3 will be my pistola. I wanna see. Is it too far? It's too far. Okay, let's find this cave. Their caves are so high up now, like, huh? Is it there? How are you supposed to get there? Whoa. Way too high. Scary. I wonder if I need the chopper. The little helicopter. Guess we can't do it. Maybe we could do this one. But that means that the materials are super hard to get now. Whoops. It has to be.
Who's that?
It's Ellie! Poor thing. Eleanor. Someone built stairs. Wait, I know you can like build a base and then abandon it. I wonder if somebody just built this and then abandoned it. Someone was playing Fortnite. What's up here? Hello? Oh, we are way high up. Okay, how do we get down? It's a good thing it's nighttime. What's up here? Did I just get tricked? Look, there's water. There's like materials and resources. These look like stairs. These look like ruins. This looks like something. Where am I? Ruins of an ancient civilization. There's light up there, I think. Let's climb. Whoa. Recover stamina. There's nothing here. Just wanted to see if you'd come up here. You know, there's rope. Oh, what? What if it's all the way up there? I'm parched. Okay. Okay. Clearly it's not. It's here. And I'm staring at it. It's there. That. No. It's that. No. It's that? No. What? This? Y'all, I need a glider. I'm scared. Took some damage, but I'm fine. It says I found it. It turned orange. What? Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm always lost. You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, you see, I found a set of Fortnite stairs and decided I should go climb that. Surely there's a reason that someone would build these stairs here. Let's go see what that reason is. And now I'm here, at the top of a cliff, with almost no way down, except certain death. I'm scared. Someone else was also struggling to find this. Right? Yeah. Someone's fighting down there. Okay. You know, if we jump and die down there, at least the base is right there and we could easily grab our stuff back. Okay, I guess we are going down. I'm scared. This is reversed Minecraft climbing. Not Minecraft, Skyrim. Oh! Ha ha ha! Ah ha ha ha! Fog is rising. Just don't die in the middle. Okay, we're super full health. There's no way. We barely took damage. See, I had no doubts that we would survive that. I had full confidence. That was the biggest drop you've done so far. I have no idea where this is. The stash. Of course it would be hidden. We did it. I'm sweating. That that was so scary. Skill issue? No. I had the skills. See? I'm alive. Let's get rid of some of this stuff before we go back out. So I'm about to be cucumbered. I can't actually put this away. What do I do with this? I'm gonna drop it outside my base. Kind donation to... Oh, maybe I should drop it in the desert. A donation to the worm. verdict. I'm a pro. Smile. I was all the way up there. If I fell there, the game would have folded me so many times. He could fit me in a tuna can. I believe in you. You know foxes dive into snow nose first, and they're always okay. I'm pretty sure you could dive straight like a worm, like a sandworm. Okay. We gotta cross the desert. Preferably from here. We gotta avoid this. Go here. Right. Do we have a respawn beacon? Nor. Foxes or worms confirmed. This person also gave me their pants. So. I don't need this. Oh, we have so much blood. Why? You got a scar on your knee from jumping into a snow pile? What? That takes an incredible amount of skill to to get a scar from snow. Was there something in the snow? Glass. Oh gosh. That's horrible. Okay, we drink water. And then we head out. Is our bike okay? Bike is a-okay. What's the plan again? What is this? Oh wait, what? Why do we have a quest here? I don't want to cross this again. I feel like all of them kind of want us to go into the same spot, so we have to. Wait. I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? It was something to go here. But why? Oh, respawn beacon. Good thing I didn't go face first, but then you would have had a cool face scar. That adds character. Could cosplay as Squall. I love Squall! Respawn bacon. Lunch over. Have fun at work. Thank you for stopping by. I love you. Respawn beacon. But for now, we're gonna go see that guy. What is it though? Do you have what it takes? What? Huh? was the best indeed. So now that I have this belt on me and my shield, do we think the worm will be more enticed to eat me? Can I hide right here? No. Do we have to face that? Please don't eat me, worm. I swear I'm not nutritious still. Oh gosh. Okay, so going up the dune is really scary because it slows down. Maybe the worm would leave you alone if you called it by its real name. I'm sorry, Shai Hulud. If that's even your real name. Oh, frames just die over here, I guess. Maxime. Where are you? Oh.
Well, you look more capable than the average scum. This war of assassins is a
I
way
came
of
here for
making
no
people
reason.
into victims or victors. Which are you, I wonder?
You are?
Pardon me, living in the heat and lingering Fremen stink erodes civility. I am Levenbrecht Maxim Kazmir, intelligence officer of Great House Harkonnen.
Okay.
It seems you can both read and follow directions. We should get along famously.
Goodbye. Done. Now, that should be... Okay. Anyways. Should we try these? Maybe these are easier to get. Oh my goodness, I think this is where I was when I was trying to fight those two NPCs and they were like downing me, and then this random player on a bike stops to watch as I'm struggling to fight with my level 1 gear, and then when I get downed again they run them over. Oh, somebody just screamed. It was right here. I'm prepared this time. I'm missing all my shots. Ah! Okay, you first. Ah! Oh, he broke through my shield. Oh, wait. Okay, maybe I still need some guy to come over here and run them over. Wait! Why? Does it hurt so much? Dare we run away? I mean, we are, but like, use our thingy. Why is there always... Oh.
Found them.
Okay. So I can't just immediately hit them.
Shield on.
Yeah, mine is too, buddy. Stop doing that.
Found you.
Stop doing that! Okay, try again. What is happening? Am I not parrying on time? I'm in the shade, I swear. Again. Okay, stop holding. Again. I'm not hitting! What is happening? What does this mean? What does it mean? It's not working. Come back. We're not done. Ah! I'm trying to learn how to fight. I could just run them over. Oh. I'm not hitting either. Oh, he's back. Yeah! Okay, let's fight. Alright, buddy. You and me. Okay, okay. Come on. No.
Eyes on hostile.
What do you mean? Maybe it's this gun. Wait. Is there something... Again. I don't get it. Okay, okay, okay.
Found them.
I'm not hitting at all. I don't understand. Do I need a special weapon? Am I supposed to do the slow thing? Nothing hits him. I'll figure this combat out. Okay, what if I... Oh, I can't even use the voice. Now? I can't use the voice. Why? It's not letting me use the voice. Are you bugged for real then? Oh my gosh, what if I shoot you? No, nothing's working. Whoa, buddy. It's broken! Okay, so it wasn't just that they were kicking my ass yesterday. There's just something about them that I can't hit. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a bug or if I have to have like some kind of shield disruptor or something. This was not a skill issue on your end. It's good parrying practice, I guess. That one guy that came by yesterday and just ran them over for me. Maybe I should just run them over. maybe they also know something. It's just bugged, but they've been bugged since yesterday. Okay. So, I have to go south. Oh, wait, this is fine. Because then I can just... Okay. Okay. That's fine by me. I can just keep heading south. Oops. I'll Google if others have this issue. Okay. Thank you, thank you. So go south through here. Hopefully it's not another PvP zone. At least we have a bunch of backups. In the base in case I die. We just have to pay attention to like the top of the screen. If it says something like leaving Camley area. Let me see if these guys are different. Because I think yesterday too, I killed these guys and then like 2 more spawned immediately.
Reveal yourself.
Whoops. 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 It's this. Desync issue? Relogging helps. Ugh. Ugh. Horrible for stream. Yes, I'll just not go there. Scary. I will place the respawn beacon here. Because if I die here, I lose everything anyway. Oh, there's a worm nearby. Ooh. Okay. Camp. There's a camp somewhere. Where? It's weird though that I had that same issue yesterday.
I see someone.
Oh my god, aim. Would you like a little bit of hand to hand? Yeah.
Enemy spot.
See, that's what it's supposed to look like. Oh. Yeah, it's not me. I'm not that. I know how to fight. I'm thirsty. I hear somebody shooting. Gotta clear this. Hello? Oh. Wait. Oh, right. I'm full. At least I'm not as scared as I was before. Haha. A thirst only the blood of your enemies can quench. I would drink the blood. It's just I have fresh water too. So maybe I'll drink the water first. Does anyone remember what the button was for emotes? G? That works too, I guess. I also have flower water. Yeah. Somebody also put a respawn beacon here. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. I thought I didn't pick it up. Dun dun dun. Whoa. Woo! Okay, so there's mines. Let's keep that in mind.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Oh. Okay, well then what's this way? That's the exit. So then we do have to go this way. How about this? No. It's almost like they don't want you to go back. Alright, we'll do this and then
Sector
we'll get
weather
off
alert.
for the
A
day.
large sandstorm is approaching.
And then next stream will be either Monday or Sunday. Depends on what I do on Sunday. Actually, I don't remember what's on Sunday. I might have family over, which also then means no stream on Monday. Okay, ready? Inhale the spice. Ready? She looks scared. 3, 2, 1. Oh, my mask is on. I want to take my helmet off for each one of these from now on. Because what do you mean I don't get to see my face? What do you mean? I spent 2 hours making that face. And then our outfit's different here. I'm wearing a still suit. Will this take us back? Escape! I can't take it off!
What is the purpose of thought?
Oh gosh.
Ibn Kirtaiba.
Ibn Kirtaiba.
Is a device of Shaitan. Do you understand, Wani? Our God gave us the gift of thought, and the words of the Kitab al-Ibar. Knowledge without action is empty. Bila kaifa.
Got it. What's this? Static compactor. Whoa.
Our wanderings brought us to Rossak. We were persecuted. Our families burned in the fires of their ignorance. We learned the cost of inaction. Never to forgive, never to forget.
They're getting rid of the fire? Do I just... This is just cleaning duty, I guess. Yeah. Ah! There's the broom. I love Power Wash Simulator. Never actually played it. This is the closest we'll get to me playing it.
Some were sent to work in mines. The tunnels were unstable. Our work made them more so. We learned the cost of action.
Whoa!
Never to forgive. Never to forget.
Okay.
Not all action leads to desirable outcomes.
Kind of hat is that? Hafla.
Distraction.
Oh, is this a distraction?
Shaitan loves wasted effort.
Woo! Okay. They literally said, you have ADHD. Go back to where you're supposed to be. It compacts the frames as well. Oh no!
It was on Rossak that the Sayadina created the poison drug. Words became memories. Through thought and action combined, we learned to create.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh. I gotta get rid of the poison. Right. Did I just do this? Okay. What is this called? Something compactor? Go away. Static compactor. Thank you. At least one of us was paying attention. Hey. I thought that was a worm.
The weight of a kindly God is a fearful thing. Did not God give us Shaitan to force action? Where was action needed?
Oh boy, jumping puzzle. Woo! I should not be called that. I trust you. You wouldn't lie to me. People don't lie on the internet.
Ibn Kirtaiba. Thought and action lead to creation. What is the purpose of thought? To honor the Creator. Remember Rosak. Be la kaifa.
Okay. Oh,
What is the purpose of thought?
hey, I'm so glad it's not
To
multiple
honor
choice.
The Creator. Remember Rosak. Be la kaifa.
Be la kaifa. Awaken. There it is. Truly, these all mean something. This progresses the story, right? Today was not just farming materials. We did something. Spice stuff is kind of wild. I have spice foods, I just don't know how to consume it. There she is, my pretty girl. She still looks pale here, though. Ooh, okay. Flour sand is the main component for making silicone blocks and other recipes. I've already made those. Flour sand can be found on the open sands. Look for a cloud of white dust to find a harvest spot. To harvest it efficiently, use a static compactor. Oh, so we need to make a static compactor now. Locate the third trial. Was this not... What? Oh. Oh, we need to do more. That didn't progress it by much. Ha! I thought it was gas. I thought it blew me up for a reason. So then why did I blow up? Because I went into white, which wouldn't be drum sand. If it's... What? I think we got cheated. The missiles? For why? But then it said I was eaten by the worm, so... Okay. So that was that. What's this now? The stars were poorly aligned. Yeah, you're right. Game just hates me. Okay. So far, what I know is that... Never mind. I don't know anything. I don't know anything at all. There's something here that we should check out. What's this now? Okay. Because I was going to say green means PvP, but this is also green. So green just means downed ships. Shipwrecks. There's also a research station, a testing station somewhere. We have to... How are we gonna cross this? How are we supposed to cross this? They're for sure going to give us a way to craft ornithopters before we're required to proceed, right? I just need to... Yeah. You know? Yeah. So am I supposed to climb out of here? Why did they make it so hard? It looks so ominous when I'm floating. Is there a secret way out of this? It's gone! The space is gone! Having a flying thingy sounds like endgame stuff though. Not when a worm can eat it. Wait, it's different now. Wait, no. It's not different. I have the whole thing. I was out for hours. Can't believe you have to climb. Okay, so then why do people put respawn beacons outside these things if there's like a very slim chance that you'll die? Like this. Just to be sure. Ooh. The loot refreshed. We have to go east. Over yonder. Yep. Okay, everybody. That's it for today. I'll try to do some more farming. Off stream. So that we can work on quests and story on stream. And then... yeah, I'll see you guys either Monday or Tuesday. Right? Yeah. Yes. Because I have people coming over. Right! Chrono's here, thanks for coming in. I hope you guys had fun. I sure did. It's like we didn't die and lose anything. We got everything back. We have better gear now. And we know better. I'm gonna see if I can like go back here and relog and see if those guys in that camp are still busted. Otherwise, something else is going on. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.